Good morning from the Big Island, the biggest shield volcano on the planetary landscape of Mother Earth. You might want to go see the little documentary called We Are the Water. I couldn't watch all of it. I broke down and cried like a baby. Go watch it and you'll see why. Right? Matter of fact, after that, I went out to the tree out there and looked directly up at the sun. The sun turned pink. Good morning, I love all of you. Right? As above, so below. So I thank Mama above. That's Eve. So yeah, I'm having fun. This is because you know what a hot mirror is. You know that a Stargate is a mirror, right? Because magnets are mirrors. So I realized a couple of years ago, man, I'm getting burned quick. That means I'm heating up. You know, when I was in Grants Pass, I thought, oh my God, I got to slow myself down or I'll burst open into a real star, and that I can't let that happen. Okay. So over a little bit of time here, I'm running hot, right? Which that's called a hot mirror, which means when I look up at the sun and when I'm out in direct sunlight, I'm a mirror. The sun's a mirror, right? So the mirror is attracted to my mirror, right? So what does that mean? I get burned in about 10 or 15 minutes now. So what that means is I'm attracting a lot of hot particles. So turmeric and honey works real well for that, which means in less than a day, skin peels right off. Right? So for me, that means it's close. That's why I'm on the biggest volcanic shield volcano on planet Earth. I call it Mama's main engine manifold, folding space vectors, right? Law of one, law of spheres. A single fire pole, right? Up and down. Running the fastest chip. It's called a mated chip, which is balanced water worlds, baby, where we're giving love to everything. Wherever we go. And that's a hot mirror. Okay. It's a hot star. Real stars. So I watched part of a documentary, because these are documentaries called Avatar, Cyber Wars, Headhunters. And the first thing that comes to my mind is like, you know, because all the mass media programming coming out of Hollywood, right? I mentioned this before. You're using your energy, which is consciousness. Consciousness is energy because that's what you're aware of in energy, is the energy that you are, that you use to experience who you are in your own mirror. So if you are what love is, then it means you love your mirror. That means you're running a hot mirror because you're running a love vibration. Right? So that means you represent the highest law, which is the highest honor code, gene code. Right? The single code. Dan Bolin called it a meta gene code. Meta. Man, you're processing an enormous amount of visual information data. That's in order to protect all the data that represents all the genetic data in a universe or the tree of life creation. Right? So I watched part of that movie, but what's so funny about that Avatar movie and Headhunters is that you immediately go back to when they were running movies, right? Like Marshall Dillon, remember Marshall Dillon, Wyatt Earp, Billy the Kid, the Lincoln County Wars, and that's the first one that came to me because remember what Billy the Kid used to call the guys that run around in badges? Regulators, like voltage regulators. Yeah, like voltage regulators. They're running voltage regulator meters. So they were protecting the bad guys, which were the rich landowners. Go watch the movie with Billy the Kid. I forget that. The one they made in modern times, I think, in either the early 1990s, right? And so what were they doing? You know, bounty hunters. And if you see in that movie Cyber Wars, Headhunters, hey, I'll give you more money. So now you're held captive for the highest bidder, which is more money, more electrons. See, and that's the game. Those are known as electrical wars. Because if you are what love is, you're gifting electrons. See, so you already got everything that you need in energy because you are what love is. It goes on forever, gifting it. So you understand what it means to be inverted, right? It's a zero-sum game. They don't run a balanced account with their electrons, right? They're not giving electrons away. They're consuming electrons. Everything is about money. Everything is about me. That's called service to self. That's the X side. X marks the spot, right? Yeah, so at some point, you know that they can never pay off their debt to the rest of the universe. It's gifting electrons, right? So what do you think the universe is going to have to say about that, which is the law of what? All right? How do you burn off a parasite? Burn off a parasite. That's why base 12 math codes is 1200 megahertz. You burn up everything that is lower than that, which means you're activating every code. It means you're not missing any codes. You want to activate all the codes, which is the language of DNA. Right? So the holders of the codes are here. Hey, brother, you got codes. Codes, language. So anyway, that's the good news. The allied forces of mankind showed up. So what else was I going to mention this morning? It's a beautiful day here on the big island of Hawaii. It's always a beautiful day here, actually, even though I was told the other day that roughly 65 to 70% of everybody on this island is a crack user. And that essentially means they're using their nuclear reactor to blow holes in themselves. So you know what happens when that happens, right? Yeah, anything can just kick out whatever was in it before that and take it over. And that was brilliantly illustrated in the first black and white movie I saw in the 50s called The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So you realize that everything they produce out of Hollywood pretty much is a documentary, right? So you're the chooser if you're a free will spirit on what it is you want to give energy to experience in your mirror, right? So that's one of the reasons why I said to this lady, which runs Mary Greeley News. She's presenting all this data. And if you go back to Yellow Rose for Texas, and I was led naturally to watch her first video about the lie that NASA told. Because you see, if I'm a psychopath binary coded artificial intelligence, cyberlink, cyberspace, cyborgs, a Borg cube ship running on artificial intelligence, or a simulator using artificial intelligence to number crunch binary codes, binary is not compatible with soul consciousness led by spirit. Okay, so you can't fool us. And the reason for that is because we run a faster drive motor. So that means that when you are a soul and artificial intelligence doesn't have a soul, artificial light cannot fool living light with a soul. Okay, so we're not a machine. We power those machines. Okay. So that's the torque differential speed, right? In the spin of the atoms that are in balance, and the speed at which atom experiences a love vibration. And that's basic stuff. So I thought about this morning when they put data up, and I'm going, well, that data could be false. I'm not over in Indiana. I'm not over in Georgia. I'm not over on Table Rock. I'm not over there. I'm not experiencing that directly. I'm experiencing the visual information that you're presenting on your screen, right? But how do I know that's true if I'm not experiencing that directly because I'm not over there, right? So this got into the same thing when I was in third grade when I was reading in a Scholastic magazine because they lie about everything. And this naturally would go all the way back to World War II with the Nazis. okay, about how Hermann Goering, when he was put on trial, he says, all you got to do is lower their vibration, put them into a state of fear, present everything in newspapers, publications, billboards, traffic signs, traffic signals, and this becomes their Truman Show reality. So I shared this with Mary Greeley, along with my grandmother, Karen Ann Luke McDonald, okay, because this is true. Or go back into the movies, into the, say, take 1840, okay, and say that back then you have cowboys and Indians, right? And then flying right over their head are star cruisers. So if you go to the Battle of 1166, because I saw the actual footage of star cruisers flying over their head while their guys using battle axes, spears, and bow and arrows to kill each other. So what do you begin to realize? Only the costumes change. And the manner in which they war against each other is more primitive. They use more primitive weapons. But right above their head, they're using directed energy weapons. So what you realize is that all they do is change out the costumes on the war set. Right? That's right. So you can exchange Roman chariots for star cruisers. And that's the game they play. So you realize what they do with programming memories, programming realities into your cellular memories to run those reality streams. Pick a time period. I'll tell you what, just write a story, a 6,000-page story, right? You're using your consciousness to create that story. Then you can have artificial intelligence simulate it for you, and that becomes your reality. Because now that reality is going to be programmed into your RAM, which is read access memory, which is no different than programming a computer of what you're going to experience on that screen. Now you can experience it holographically in here. So now you begin to see how the programming works between computer terminals, circulation desk, circulation libraries, held in cellular memory between every computer terminal that is communicating with every other computer terminal that is here within this planetary terrain. So when you're having a dream state, you're walking through all of those simulations that are being experienced simultaneously. So that's the difference between an awakened state and an unawakened state, because the spirit is never asleep. It is in that light running a hot mirror, which is what love is. It goes on forever. That means wherever we are, love is. That means the realms and worlds that we create are created out of what we are, which is what love is. It goes on forever, which means you don't experience anything less than what we are, which is what love is. Imagine and experience a world or a universe like that, compared to all the ones that were running as simulations within simulations within simulations within simulations, which means from one movie set to another movie set to another movie set to another movie set, from one story to the next that they presented, and you run and record in your memory and you play. Record one, play two, rewind, fast forward. That's your chip, your membrane. Minus/plus. What do you want to put in memory? That's up to you, isn't it? So you know they know how to erase your memories and reprogram your reality. That's playing fake AI God, ain't it? Da 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 da. That's why we're here. It's called ending the game, ending the Star Wars games. Okay, love is a law. It's no longer negotiable for self-evident reasons. Have a great day. We love you all. Be good to yourselves.